Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital spoilers and updates tease that Jax Eden McCoy will discover that Britt Westburn Kelly Thiebaud is still alive. Will this return connect with Professor Henry Hank Dalton's Daniel Goddard studies? Britt saved Josslyn's life on the night she was injured by Heather Weber's Allie Mills' deadly hook. Even though Britt ultimately paid the ultimate price, she left this world as a hero. With the news of Kelly Thiebaud's return to ABC, there's a possibility for Britt to make a comeback from the dead. While it's possible that Thiebaud may portray a different character, we must consider the chance of Britt somehow returning. This leads us to a hint that Daniel Goddard shared on social media back in April. Goddard mentioned that Professor Dalton's mentor was Sir John Gurdon, a Nobel Prize-winning developmental biologist often referred to as the godfather of cloning. Groundbreaking research in cloning and nuclear transplantation paved the way for future studies. So could it be that Professor Dalton is engaging in some cloning experiments of his own? It's only natural for Professor Dalton to want to build upon the legacy of his idol. The WSB is quite aware of some of Professor Dalton's questionable actions, yet they remain in the dark about many aspects. If they had all the information, they wouldn't require Josslyn, Jax, Eden McCoy to trick Professor Dalton and investigate further. Given that Britt once helped Josslyn in her time of need, perhaps Joss could now reciprocate the gesture. What if Josslyn is the one who finds out that Britt is alive, and possibly being held captive as a lab rat somewhere? It's possible that Britt's death was staged with the assistance of a clone or something similar. The real Britt may have survived and could require Josslyn's assistance if this has escalated into a situation of captivity. Regarding Britt's Huntington's disease, it would be simple to alter the narrative so that she was misdiagnosed or misled about her actual illness. On the other hand, perhaps Britt underwent some kind of miraculous experimental treatment if they are indeed pursuing the lab rat concept. Of course, we must also take into account the chance that the genuine Britt is permanently gone and that Josslyn might encounter a clone of Britt instead. In any case, there has to be a reason why Professor Dalton has a connection to cloning through the mentor selected for him by the show. Will Josslyn ultimately uncover a startling revelation tied to a clone narrative? General Hospital spoilers indicate that Kelly Thiebaud will be returning, one way or another. So we'll keep you posted on any other thrilling updates regarding her comeback. Port Charles is no stranger to shocking returns, wild science experiments, and secret lives, but this one will rock the very foundation of the hospital and every life connected to Jason Morgan and Britt Westburn. What if Britt never died? What if she was taken not by fate or disease, but by a man with a god complex and a lab full of cloned secrets? Josslyn's obsession with Dalton turns up more than she bargained for. Jax can't shake the feeling that something about Dalton Armitage doesn't sit right. Ever since he arrived in Port Charles with charming smiles and a dangerous aura, she's been on edge. With her instincts honed from growing up as Carly's daughter, Joss knows when someone is hiding something, and Dalton practically screams, "Liar!" Her suspicions deepen after overhearing a hushed conversation between Dalton and a mysterious contact over the phone. Words like containment breach, subject memory destabilizing, and most chillingly, neural sync is failing, send a bolt of ice down her spine. Britt Westburn. That can't be. She's dead, isn't she? Driven by the need for answers and haunted by memories of the brave, brilliant woman who once loved Jason, Josslyn dives headfirst into a dangerous game of surveillance, hacking, and old WSB contacts. Jason's stunned Britt's name surfaces when Josslyn takes her findings to Jason. He's resistant at first. "Joss, she's gone," he says, with the same quiet grief he's carried since Britt died in his arms. But Josslyn isn't convinced. She pulls out the audio file she extracted from Dalton's encrypted tablet. Jason's eyes widen as he hears Britt's name mentioned not once, but several times, in connection to a Project Echo. That's all it takes. Jason sets his jaw and calls in a few favors of his own. He may be out of the WSB, but he still has connections. What he uncovers next makes his blood run cold. A rogue experimental genetics lab, long thought shut down after multiple international violations, was reactivated recently under a shell company connected to Dalton. The lab and the truth about Britt with Spinelli's help. Jason and Josslyn locate the lab's supposed location, in abandoned clinic on the outskirts of Montreal. What they find inside is like something out of a science fiction nightmare. Cryogenic chambers, monitors tracking neural activity, DNA samples labeled with names that shouldn't exist, One word flashes on the monitors. Clone dot, and then they find her dot at first. They don't believe their eyes. Britt lies in one of the chambers, pale, but alive. Her vitals are steady. Her face is unmistakable. Jason touches the glass, breath caught in his throat. Spinelli, stunned, reads the chamber's log. Subject W alpha. Original DNA sourced from deceased donor Britt Westburn. Subject demonstrates memory cohesion and cellular stability. Awaiting transfer to protocol reboot. It all becomes clear. Dalton wasn't just hiding secrets, he was trying to resurrect the past. Britt 2.0, clone or survivor. Back in Port Charles, Britt is stabilized and placed under strict observation at GH. Liz and Finn work around the clock to manage her medical condition. She's suffering from neurological instability due to the memory implantation process Dalton's team had initiated. But Britt begins to wake up. Her first words, Jason. Jason is at her side in seconds. He doesn't know whether to cry or ask 1,000 questions. She remembers him. Their time on the run. Their final kiss. Her illness. But then nothing. That's when Portia uncovers the truth. While the woman before them is genetically Britt Westbourne, her body shows markers of synthetic aging regression. In layman's terms, she's a clone engineered to be Britt, with Britt's memories implanted via neural mapping. But is she really just a clone? That's where things get murky, because if Britt's mind is intact, if her heart is the same, if her love for Jason still pulses through her, does it matter that her body was created in a lab? Jason's torn. He never stopped loving Britt, and now she's here. Alive, in a sense, but can he trust what's real? Or was this woman designed to play on his heart? Dalton's endgame revealed, a whole army of ghosts. Meanwhile, Dalton is on the run but not for long. Anna and Jordan track his coordinates to a secret compound in Greenland, where more chilling files are recovered. It turns out Britt wasn't the only subject. Dalton had created duplicates of several notable deceased individuals from Port Charles, intending to sell them to the highest bidder or use them as leverage in global espionage. Among the files, prototypes labeled Morgan Beta Casadena Prime and even a Drake variant. Are we talking about recreations of Jason's brother AJ? Or even Patrick Drake? The implications are horrifying. Dalton wanted to create programmable copies of people who had access, influence, and emotional leverage. His clients would have used these clones to manipulate stock markets, infiltrate intelligence agencies, or worse, tear apart families and relationships in Port Charles for their own twisted gain. But the most horrifying part? Some of the clones were already active. Josslyn takes a Josslyn, having blown the lid off this entire operation, is lauded for her bravery, but emotionally, she's wrecked. The line between life and death, truth and lies, has been blurred beyond recognition. She confides in Trina that she doesn't know how to move forward. I brought Britt back. But did I really? What if I made everything worse? And Jason? He begins spending more time at Britt's side, trying to come to terms with what she's become and how much of her still exists. Britt confesses that, even in the darkness of the lab, even before she had her memories restored, she felt his presence. I knew I had to hold on. For you. The fallout and what's next. Anna orders a full WSB cleanup of Dalton's cloning program. The chambers are destroyed. The remaining subjects are humanely dealt with, some too unstable to survive. Others given new lives with monitoring. But Dalton himself. He disappears during a transport mission, presumed dead after a car explosion. But we know better, and so does Josslyn, because in the final moments of the episode, Joss opens her phone and finds a new encrypted message, one she never expected. You think it's over, Ms. Jax. You just woke up the future. See you soon. Her hands tremble. The war has just begun. Coming soon on General Hospital. Jason and Britt face a devastating truth about the clone's lifespan. Josslyn is targeted by another rogue faction tied to Dalton's clients. A face from the past returns, one not seen since before the fire at Casadena Island. Maxie suspects her daughter may be part of something much bigger than anyone realized. A memory inside Britt's mind leads to a buried WSB conspiracy, and the name Victor Casadena reemerges. Port Charles isn't ready, but Josslyn is, and so is Britt, got cloned or not. The Westbourne fire still burns. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our GH News 24 YouTube channel for more update news.